To me, the best thing about retirement would be that I could just sit there, nobody bugs me, and I could just do work.
Hey, do you like cold water? Me too. I want to thank the sponsor, The Coldest Water. This thing will hold your water cold for 36 hours or hot for 12 hours, which is pretty good. So if you want to win one of these, there'll be a link in the description. Or if you just want to buy one, there's also a link in the description. Welcome to the Jehu Garcia podcast, Paul. You are here because you wrote a very interesting book that seems to go kind of against the established, ideas of how to run a business and stuff, right? Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Because I seem to agree with you, and that's why I think I'm going to find this conversation fascinating, because I kind of run my business very similar to this, but I think I will get to learn a lot from you and your philosophy. So tell me about the title of your book and then the philosophy behind it.
Yeah, so the book is called Company of One. It isn't meant to be taken literally, just like Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week doesn't mean you work 4 hours and then stop for the day. I mean, sometimes, or 4 hours a week. I guess 4 hours a day is fine. 4 hours a week seems like just a little bit too little. So Company of One is really just the idea that growth is sometimes really good for a business, and sometimes it isn't the best idea. So the thesis, the whole point is that before we proceed with growing our businesses, we should just question it, right? And to me, that seems like a fairly logical step. It seems like it's a good place to start, is with our own minds and a little bit of reason. But business and Silicon Valley and all of that has kind of led us astray. So I felt like I needed to write something that just kind of reminded people, like, hey, growth is good, but it isn't always good. And sometimes we should think about, okay, what's best for me, the founder, what's best for the company as a whole, long term, and what's best for the customer. And that's the book.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because that is the first thing that you want to do. Like, people that start businesses, you're like, what do you want to do? I want to grow. Get this big, make a lot of money, make my statement to the world, that I'm here, I'm important. But very quickly you learn the realities of having a big business, then managing people. If you're good at managing people, you'll do well, I guess. But if you're like me, who sucks at managing people, then that was my thing, right? It was my first business. It kind of became successful overnight kind of thing. And then the first thing is like, I need help. I can't do this. Okay, hire some guy. And then next week, hire somebody else. All right, hire another thing. And next thing I knew, we were like 20, I had 20 employees and stuff. Absolutely no idea how to run, how to manage people, how to do any of this stuff. And so very quickly got out of hand. And we survived for a few years, but then eventually I never learned how to let go of people, right? And I never really had the finger on if I was making money or not, because things got so out of hand so very quickly. And so basically all the profits, all the earnings that I accumulated through those years, they basically went right back into my employees, because I didn't let them go. So for a year and a half, they were we were all just waiting for business to pick up again, and it never did.
Yeah.
I never knew that I was in a bubble, and that it wasn't going to come back. So this time around, now I've kind of started other business here and there, but this is like the second main business. I'm doing it backwards. I'm like, I'm not hiring anyone. I'm doing it all myself. I'm figuring out how to make money, make sure that I have multiple sources of streams of like income and revenues and all that stuff, and it seems to be working a little bit better for me, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of the things that you said really, really relate to the underlying ideas in the book, right? Like, it's easier to make a lot of money if you spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's if you don't pay, and I think a lot of times people pay attention to the sexy gross number, and they don't think about, okay, well, what's my actual profit here? Like, what are the margins in this business, right? And I think that's important. And the other thing that you said that really that I relate to really well, and that is one of the reasons for writing the book, is I like the work that I do, so I never wanted to promote myself out of a job I like into a job I didn't, which would have been managing people. I don't like managing people. There are people who are put on this planet, I think, that are good at managing others. I just want to do cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's it. And if I had to be in charge of people doing cool stuff, I would be jealous of the work that they were doing, right? So
Yeah.
I think we have to think about these things when we're starting a business. Like, how do you, and a lot of the book is a lot of, I guess, philosophical things, but it always comes back to this, right? Like it comes back to how, as a business owner, how do you want to spend your day? Like you're going to be working a lot of your waking hours. That's just how work works. So what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do with your day? And for myself, it sounds like you as well. Managing people doesn't seem like the coolest thing, but doing other things and keeping the business at a size that makes a lot of sense for profit and for happiness and for freedom, that kind of works for me, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of remember thinking like, at one point thinking like, oh man, all these people are looking at me for answers, right? Except I don't have nobody to look for answers, right? I'm like the alpha here, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, right? So this is a bad place to be. And so I remember thinking like, I need to be hiring like problem solvers, right? And starting out, since this was a brand new startup business, it was all problems that we'd never faced before, and so we didn't have procedures. And so I had to kind of, figure everything for everybody. And that was the wrong thing to be doing because I'm only so good at doing these things, and so, yeah, I kind of failed. And I kind of remember doing a video where I kind of look back once I had to let everybody go. And I go like, this was my fault. I didn't foresee this. I let this whole team down because essentially had I figured these very early on, then I would have been to do something about it. I would have been able to maybe hired a manager or something, some delegate some of these tasks that I am not particularly good at, but that are very important in a big team.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing with business. I think a lot of times people think, well, I just have to like plan my way out of things. And in theory, that sounds like a smart idea. But I think a lot of times in business, you can make plans and they're guesses. They're the best guess based on the information you've got at that time. Doesn't mean they're always going to be right. Doesn't mean they're always going to pay off. So I'm kind of similar. Like you said, you like to have processes. I think processes are based on you seeing what has happened and then putting something in place to deal with that once it happens again, right? So the first time something happens, it's hard to plan for in business because you don't know. It's just like when you put a product out into the market. You can do market research. You can talk to everybody everybody's going to say, oh, yeah, I'd buy that. And then when you ask them for money, they're like, I don't know. I don't know if I want that thing right now. Maybe later.
Come in a week.
Exactly. So a lot of the times we're testing these ideas as business owners in real time, based on some data, but obviously not the whole picture. When we start doing things, then we get the whole picture. Then we can start to make processes and put systems in place and automate as much as possible and move forward from there.
Yeah. How old are you?
42.
Oh, 42. Yeah, you're about my age. I'm 40. I think I'm 42. 77?
78. I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, you're 40 something.
Yeah. Somewhere around the 40, my early 40s. Do you think it's... I like the saying, right? It's there's more than one way to skin a cat, I guess. And I tend to always be saying that, right? Because people are like, you should be doing this. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, I should be, or I could also be doing this other thing, right? Like, there's like many ways to do things. I also older now. I'm valuing my time much more because you kind of, after you hit like your 30s, you realize that you're like, damn, I'm on my second half of my life now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's less time ahead of me than there was past me, kind of thing. And so you're like, I gotta make the best out of this. Like, I can't be just like wasting it, doing things that you don't want to do, doing things that, so that's at the very high of my priority list is having fun, having a good time. Right? Mm-hmm. It's like everything else comes second to that kind of thing. So do you think there is room for when you're young? Because when young people are, they're better hustlers, right? They're hungrier. They feel like they have to, make their splash in the world and let the world leave their mark, kind of thing, right? Legacy and stuff. Uh, do you think that this is a product of now us being slightly older than than when we started this?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're younger too, the co-founder of my business is in his 20s and I'm in my 40s, so I get to see this on a daily basis, and he's definitely very hungry for things, and he hasn't experienced things in business that I have, but I feel like that's good because that's the place where he's at in his life. And I mean, I was similar to that as well. I never started a big company kind of thing, but I was still, and I think a lot of it comes down to curiosity. I think a lot of it comes down to, well, I don't know what I want because I haven't experienced stuff. Now that I've experienced stuff, especially in business, I've worked for myself for more than 20 years. I know what I want. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I know that all of the business decisions that I make, I want to make them to support the life that I like and the life that I want, right? And I think, especially years ago, it was like a knock, like, oh, you just run a lifestyle business. Like, it's just dismissive, like, it's a lifestyle business. You work for yourself. This is like, I'm in my home. This is where this is where I do my work every single day, even outside of pandemics. I'm still here all the time.
Yeah.
And people would say, well, this is a lifestyle business. It's not a real business. It's a lifestyle business. And I'd be like, okay, but I'm making great money. I get to do the things that I like. I have a ton of freedom. If I want to go travel for 3-4 months, I can. Like, if this is a lifestyle business, this is the lifestyle I actually like, so sign me up. And I started to think about it, and I think that every business is a lifestyle business. If you work at a big company, you're working 9 to 5. I was going to say 9 to 5. Nobody works 9 to 5. Like 9 to 7 every night, Monday to Friday. Like, if you work for a Silicon Valley startup, you're going to be working certain hours. You have to appease your investors as well as your customers. Every business is a lifestyle. Why not have a business that complements my lifestyle instead of one that diminishes it? So people are like, oh, you have a lifestyle business. I'm like, yeah, cool story, bro. I do have a lifestyle business. It's all good.
Yeah, that's weird. What is a lifestyle? What is that? What do they mean by lifestyle business? Like, I mean, it's a business. It's like,
Yeah.
it's so that you can live, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's weird. Like, I kind of like realized that this is in my head quite a bit these days. I'll give you an example. I was thinking about making a video on how to make a battery. I mostly, for those of you listening, I mostly talk these days about batteries. DIY projects having to do with battery storage, energy storage, and stuff like that, right? So then I was thinking about a video idea, and then I thought the idea that I'm gonna start it with like, this is your day. I was like, this is life. It's 24 hours in a day, and that's where your life exists, right? And then I'm like, well, not really. This is the portion where you sleep, right? So you're not really living there, but you have to do it. You can fudge around with it, try to cut it back. But at the end of the day, everybody has to sleep, or else you're going to die, right? Like, your body's not going to function. And then, like, another big chunk, this is work. This is your career. This is where you spend all the time. And then going down the line, and then until eventually we're like, this is your time, right? And not really entirely your time, because there has to be a bunch of chores. Like, you have to pay bills, you have to, maintenance your car, do all the stuff. And so then I wanted to make the connection that, like, the higher your bills are, the more time you have to spend working, which means that you have the least amount of time of the real important part. First of all, once you like put it all in a timeline, it's off, because you spend a lot of time sleeping, you spend a lot of time working, and then you spend a lot of time in maintenance stuff in life. And then the actual part where you're like actually living for you, like doing the things that you like and stuff, it's like tiny, like just a few hours a day, right? If you're lucky, sometimes people don't even have that. So the higher your bills are, then the less time you have to live. And I'm like, and so then I wanted to tie the whole thing. It's like, here's one bill this month is really high, as an electricity bill. I'm going to show you how to lower this bill so you have more time to live, But I'm like, it's weird, because I'm like, I'm going to try and make a video about a battery, selling you the idea about it. But I'm talking about life. Like, I'm talking about how do you get more time to spend time doing the stuff that you love and like doing, right? And so I'm like, that means it's in my head. Like that's the thing that I'm constantly thinking about it because it's now, bleeding over into like these ideas about videos about selling product, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, right? Like, I always think about that because it's like, okay, whatever I buy, what am I going to do to have to maintain that? Whether it's a house, like the number of bathrooms means my wife or me is going to have to clean those bathrooms, right? If I buy a car, there's going to be maintenance. I have a Tesla because there's almost no maintenance. I have a e-bike with a mid-drive motor because it requires far less maintenance, right? I'm not going to buy something if it's going to take up a lot of my time. I'm not going to, and even that was probably one of the smartest things I started to think about in my 20s was I realized that my income was increasing, but I also realized that my lifestyle didn't have to increase with my income. Yeah. So I could find the place where I was the happiest with like a house of a size that's not crazy, enough cars, enough stuff. And I didn't have to increase that because that was just giving me more to do. Like you said, it was just giving me more and more to do, and I had less time to enjoy my life. So there's obviously a point, and this is kind of the point of the book as well, is like, what is enough, right? So there was a study done about happiness. I think Pew did a study. I think it was like 1.2 million people. And they're like, how much money do you need to make to be happy? And you would think that the more money you make, the happier you are, right? But in the study, it turned into a bell curve. So people were obviously happier if they went from zero money to a certain amount of money. But then it started to drop off. As people started to make more and more money, their happiness started to decrease after a certain, and it wasn't a huge amount. It wasn't like millions of dollars. I think it was like $100,000 or something. Like it was something that is a decent amount of money, but is attainable by more than just like the Elon Musk's or Jeff Bezos's of the world, right? Yeah. And they had decreased happiness because they were worried about social pressures and keeping up with the Joneses and the neighborhoods that they lived in, where if somebody got a new TV, somebody else had to get a bigger TV. And so I think this thinking that we can just spend our way into happiness, it doesn't really work because it just gives us more to deal with, more to take care of, more maintenance on everything in our lives. And it takes away from the just being able to relax and have fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the other thing is I think a lot of people have is like making their mark in the world, right? Like, I know that when I was younger, I used to be like, yeah, it used to make me feel good. I have employees, people look up to me. That very quickly dropped off. Like, as soon as I came into my 40s or whatever, I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't want to flash money or possessions. Like, it's just kind of went all out the door. Like, yeah, I don't care. Like, who cares? Like, what it is, you know what I mean? Like, I used to care. Like, oh, my house has to look a certain way. My car has to be like it's status symbols. You know what I mean? Like that they're not as important anymore. And I think, I don't know. I think that's the thing that comes with age. I don't know if this necessarily. Do you think it's necessarily a good thing for young people to come into those ways of thinking early on, or you think it is useful to go through the journey? You know, when you're in your 20s, you should hustle like everybody, and because you have the energy and the stamina, and that's what makes you the 40-year-old that you're going to turn into, you know?
Exactly. Now I'm tired. It's like 9 o'clock at night, and I'm just like, I'm done for the day. Yes. I think it's useful to make mistakes in life because then mistakes that you learn from, right? Yeah. But I think there also comes a point where you need to think like, am I doing this for myself or am I doing this for other people? Like, am I buying this car so it looks good in my driveway or so that such and such a person sees it? Or am I running my business? Like, it sounds better if somebody asked me like, well, how big's your business? And I said, I have 1,000 employees across 18 offices in 3 countries. That sounds good, other than like, I run a business with my good buddy and we both work from home, right? Like, it just sounds better. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, do I want to run a business where I'm happy, or do I want to run a business where I just look good to other people? And I think when we're younger, we can definitely get caught up in that and get caught up in that hustle of, well, this just looks good. Like, I feel good because people respect me because of this. And for me, as well, like, I'd rather just be, like, I don't want to be known. Like, doing publicity for the book, my publicist in one country was like, oh, do you want to go on this TV show? I was like, no. Like, no. That sounds like the worst thing in the world to be to be famous in any way. Like, I like where I'm at now. Like, the only people who know about my book, the only people who know about me are people who could benefit from that information. But it's not like I'm not going to walk down the street and get recognized. It's not that level of fame, which I like. I wouldn't want to be out and be recognized. And a lot of young people want that. And it's just like, that seems awful. That seems like people would be judging me all the time. Like, oh, look at how he's holding his fork at a restaurant. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah. I suffer from that. I mean, I'm a YouTuber, right? And I've spent quite a bit of time analyzing, like, why do I want to put my thoughts and ideas? And it was getting to the point where people were recognizing me in the street. And it was cool, right? Because you're like, hey, this a fan or whatever. It's weird, They know everything about me. I don't know anything about them, but it's like, but I think I'm very quickly falling off of that too. I just heard a thing the other day. It was like, people used to say, like, I want to be rich and famous. And then someone was like, you should try being rich first. And then you should try the fame later. Because you might not need the fame. And I'm like, you're right. Yes. I mean, there are certain characters that does desire the admiration of others. I mean, we kind of all do, but to a certain extent, right? Like, it has to be the right kind. You get more picky as you get older. But I think at one point it becomes a huge liability. It's a double-edged sword kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and it's and that's another thing that it's like it's hard to know that you want that or that you don't want that until you've had that a little bit. Yeah. And it's just I don't think it makes you happy as a blanket statement. I think it can make some people happy to do those things, and it can make some people horribly depressed or really unhappy with the fact that they don't have a ton of privacy or that sort of thing. So I think it's good to kind of consider all of the ramifications of decisions that you're making, because if things go well and you haven't considered it, you could do everything right and end up in a place you don't want to be. Yeah. Whereas if you consider it first, then you're less likely. I mean, it could still happen, but you're less likely to end up in a place you don't want to be, even if all the things went right and all the things went your way.
Yeah, that's true. What do you usually tell young people when they ask you for advice? Have you ever had to advise a young person, like, what to do?
Sometimes. I mean, it's hard for me. Like, I get a lot of people asking, like, oh, should I go to school for it? So my background is design. And so people ask me, like, should I go to school to be a web designer? And I'm like, I got a job in the 90s as a web designer when my only qualification was that I knew what the internet was. It's like, I don't know what to say to younger people about things like that. But if they're asking about business things, then it's like, okay, well, think about how you want to spend your day is the first thing. And think about, is this something that you can kind of start slowly so you don't have to like push all of your chips in and spend all of the money that you have or money that you borrow or money that investors gives you to try something? Because we don't know. Like I said, we don't know how things are going to work out. So if we start things in the smallest way possible, and then if it works, grow it. And then if that works, grow it again. It's just like the book, Company One, that we're talking about. That started out as an article. And if the article hadn't got the traction that it got, I wouldn't have pitched it to an agent who wouldn't have pitched it to a publisher, who wouldn't have asked me to write the book and give me money to write the book. Like these things, all of the things in my life only exist as far as business goes because I tested them in the tiniest way possible. It took me 30 minutes to write an article. Didn't cost me any money. And I put it out there and I saw, okay, what's this going to do? Honestly, I thought it was a throwaway piece. I wrote an article called I Don't Care About Growth. I sent it to my mailing list. And I was just like, this is just going to explain to people why I do business in the way that I do. And I usually get a couple hundred replies to my emails. I think I got like 1,400 or 1,500 people reply to that one.
Whoa.
And I was like, this is something. It's just like I run an analytics company. It started because I was sick of Google Analytics. I drew a mock-up of what I thought analytics should look like, and I tweeted it out. It took me an hour, and everybody was like, oh, I want that. Like, how can I give you money for this thing? And then I was like, okay, well, how can I build it in a tiny way possible that takes a couple weeks? Put it out there. I put it out open source. It got downloaded 1 million times. I was like, okay, for the non-nerds who don't know how to work on servers and do like command line stuff, I could sell this. And so like everything starts out as like a tiny, tiny thing. And then if it works, it grows. And then if it works, it grows a bit more. So I didn't have to go out and look for venture funding for that kind of thing. I didn't have to write a book and think, I don't know if this is going to sell. Because I already knew the idea was popular because I tested it with a group of people who were interested, right? So I think for young, coming back to your question, I think for younger people, it's important to take that huge idea that you have and figure out how can you make it the smallest thing possible to start to see if it works. And then if it does, it can get bigger. And if it doesn't, you haven't wasted that much time. So you move on to another idea.
Yeah. You know, it's so weird. I'm like, you're going against the grain because that's essentially what most people don't think that's how you should approach things. It's funny because I started my business a similar way. It's like, I'm like, people ask me like, how did you start your business? How did you get into this thing? Did you like get a loan? Did you get a business license? Did you get a warehouse? Did you get an office? I'm like, no, none of that. That all came after. Like, the first thing I figured to do is if I could make money.
Yeah.
And then once I was like, oh, I could do this thing. I made, I doubled my $1 into $2, my $2 into $4. And then I'm like, oh, then now we have a budget to spend and like maybe get other things and do the thing, get a place, I literally started in my bedroom. That's my first business. It was, then I moved into the garage kind of thing, And so I'm like, I realized that like for me, not having any business background, I barely had any schooling. I only went to school for like 6 years. And, at times I think that is a curse because I didn't learn any social skills. I didn't, there's a ton of stuff that I'm lacking. But at times some people have said to me and pointed out that like, no, it's kind of a double-edged sword too. That is the reason why you're looking at these things from a slightly different angle. And that is, maybe that gives you a tiny bit edge on how to do the thing.
I dropped out of school too. Like I've got no education. I mean, I got hand tattoos, dude. I can't walk into a bank and get a loan. That's not going to happen. I have to make my own money.
That's so weird because I didn't even notice them. I've been looking at your hands, but I at no point did I think
it just all kind of blends into me.
It's things are changing, right? Which is a good segue, I think, to like, do you think this being a one, like you said, it sounds good. Like I manage this company, multinational, 1,000 employees, like that thing. I would be impressed. I would be, I would think that's a cool thing. Like 5 years ago, today you tell me that, and I'm like, well, okay, whatever. Like I don't care. Like I'm a company of 3. I don't care. Like I don't care that like. I'm not impressed. So I guess because I'm not impressed anymore by things like that, I guess I'm not looking to impress others by saying like, hey, I have like a huge company or something. Do you think the whole landscape, people are looking at these small businesses in a different way?
Definitely. I think that, when there was a bit of an economic downturn at the beginning of the year, at the start of the pandemic, and people were getting laid off and people were having to stay home or people couldn't go do the work that they do, they were thinking, okay, well, what can I do for myself? And that's always the case, dude. Like, I remember the first .com bubble burst. I remember the economic recession in '08. Like, all of these things happened, and my business was fine because I have almost no expenses, right? Like, I could make as little revenue as possible and still be profitable because my business has almost like I have a computer and a bit of audio and video gear, which I already own. I paid for these things already, right? And I think that when you have a business where your margins are super thin, it's hard. Like if you have a tough month, it's hard. Like it can be really hard. And I know not every industry it's possible to have margins like you do in tech, but I still think it's worth considering. Like, how can I put off spending unless it's painful not to spend so I can keep my margins as high as possible? Because you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Like if 2020 has taught us anything, it's that something else is around the bend and it's going to mess with us. and things are not going to be the same as they were 50 minutes ago, right? So I think people are starting to see, well, if I have a business that is as lean as it possibly can be, then I can weather these kinds of storms. And for me, it's like 20 years. I've been almost 21 years in business now, and I've weathered a ton of storms. And it's not because I'm smart that I got through it. It's because I spend almost no money. Like my spending did not increase as my income increased. And so I do as much as I can to save and to make sure that I can cover the things that I don't know that are going to happen in the future. Even with the analytics company, it's like we could have a couple customers go viral on the plan that they're on, and we could get an AWS bill that's just ridiculous, and we might not be billing them for another month. And so we have to make sure that we have the margins necessary to deal with these things. We have to hire a couple lawyers in Europe because we deal with European privacy law a lot. So we have to hire a bunch of lawyers in Europe, and lawyers aren't cheap. European lawyers are also not cheap. So things like that come up, and you don't know that they're going to happen. But when they do happen, you have to be prepared to spend your way out of it if that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Do you? It's weird because you're right. This pandemic, I've been preparing for this pandemic for 10 years. I'm completely set up to I don't need anyone to do the thing that I do. I just need a camera and an internet connection and some time for myself, and I'm done. I'm good. You know what I mean? So I did fairly well, and I realized that everybody's asking me how do you set up such a weird thing. How do you set up your camera, and what microphone do you use? Because everybody's I'm a weirdo for all this time, right? I sit in a room and talk to myself essentially because I'm in front of the camera. I'm the weirdo. All of a sudden 2020 comes around and it's oh, this is what everybody's doing. Everybody's wanting to look at the camera, the lens, at the thing, which computer, which program, how do you use the thing? All of a sudden, everybody's vlogging.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
It was funny, too, because at the beginning, I'm all of these TV shows that had to go to people's, that just had to go to the person's houses, like Jimmy Kimmel and all these late shows, their production quality was worse than, Marquise Brownlee.
Yes.
The setup of all the YouTubers that I watch was 1,000 times better than all of these, nationally syndicated talk show hosts, which I thought was just hilarious.
Yeah, something interesting right now on the other, their control room for these podcasts. It's also, my brother works at Warner Brothers, and he works in a big TV show, and he's doing it from here. In fact, he's probably doing it right now. He's absolutely not paying attention to this because he's working on his day job right now. So it's weird. We are living in a weird year, but if it teaches anything, is that things can go south so quickly. I mean, none of us were expecting this. This is just unprecedented. No one thought that this fear thing, right? It's so you got to be prepared for that, and you got to be lean. That all of a sudden, the businesses that value being lean, not having a lot of overhead, are the ones that are going to survive this.
Yeah.
And even maybe thrive.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the thing. It's even with the business that I run, it was we've had some of our best months since, and it feels weird to say that, but it's just the way that it's gone because we've made sure that we were as lean as possible from the start. We made sure that our margins were good. We made sure that we provided a ton of value for what we charge our customers. And we made sure that we weren't trying to go after just a few big customers. We tried to, we actively try to get more people on our lower plan, because that builds in diversification. So if one customer at $14 a month leaves, it's not that big of a deal. But if we had just gone after 3 or 4 big customers and one of them canceled, it'd be oh, this is tighten the belt. This is going to be rough. So just in the way that we were kind of thinking about things and the way that we were kind of building out the business, luckily my co-founder read my book and agrees with almost all of it in the book. So it wasn't a hard sell.
That's cool. Yeah, so less baskets is not a good thing. You need to be more diverse. Yeah, that's the thing that I am actively doing this time around that I got my business is this is one way to do the thing. This is another little way, and I got one revenue over here because then, any of them kind of go south. I'm okay, It's but it takes a while to get there. Do you worry about the future. One of the biggest things that my worries is that I'm primarily a YouTuber, right? So I create content, and that doesn't make me money. But what does make me money is like affiliate marketing, right? So then I'm like, I teach people how to build stuff. I'm selling a dream, first of all, right? But then it's like a hands-on. It's like, this is a dream. This is where you want to go. Here's how you do it. You build this tiny project, this thing. It's physical goods. It's like battery stuff, you know? And then when I make a video, and then 1,000 people go and buy the stuff so they can, and they don't buy it from me. They buy it from Amazon. They buy it from, I'm a member of like affiliate member in all the platforms that can exist, you know? And that now it's creating quite a bit of income for me, right? And so the problem is that it all tapers down. Like I make a video and it's really profitable for a few months, and then it tapers down to like almost nothing. And so there's always a need to be out there. I need to keep making videos on a weekly basis, 2-3 videos on a weekly basis, you know, and they have to be good and they have to be out there. And so it's a hustle, you know? And so I'm thinking, like, as I get older, you know, like eventually I'm not going to feel like doing this. This is all temporary. This is a journey, right? I think most of us, when we're young, we think that we're going to do one thing, find it, figure it out, and then that's it. We're going to keep doing that forever. But no one does that. The reality is that, like, we get tired of doing the same thing. Like, I feel one way today, but in 5 years, ask me again, I'm a completely different person, you know, and the things that I like now might not like them. So that is one of the things that I worry, and I'm like, I need to set up some kind of business that is kind of passive, that is kind of like weird, like this thing, that doesn't depend solely on me, right? And so that's the thing that I'm like setting up right now for the future, to future-proof myself.
Yeah, I mean that's why I got into software as a service, SaaS, because I'm the same. Like, if I don't write an article every week and send it to my mailing list, nobody's gonna buy my books. Nobody's gonna I stop existing after a little bit of time. And so I was like,
in less time than we'd like to
exactly
think. So
yeah, right. So I was like, well, I need to do something where, and I think the thing with passive income is it decouples the work you do to the revenue you make. Like for me, like I write a good article, I sell a bunch of books. You make a video, you make a bunch of money off of affiliate marketing. Whereas the passive income side, it's like I can do a bunch of work on software, and then it's going to get a couple customers today, but then those customers are going to pay me next month, and more are going to show up, and then the next month more are going to show up, and then eventually I don't need to do content to do that. I don't need to do marketing. I mean, we have a great affiliate program that helps bring in more and more customers. So trying to think of things that, just like you're saying, try to think of things where I don't have to be making things and putting them out with regular cadence all the time. And I think it was funny. I was talking to my co-founder yesterday about retiring. I'm like, when I retire, I don't want to stop working. I just want to stop being a person on the internet. To me, the best thing about retirement would be that I could just sit there, nobody bugs me, and I could just do work. And he's like, you're so weird. But I'm like, I've been on the internet for more than 20 years. Like, I've been like a public person on the internet for more than 20 years. I think retirement for me is like, I just don't do that anymore because the company's doing well, and I can just like sit and focus on my work. And it sounds weird, but I'm like, that sounds like a cool idea. Like, one day, all of my stuff on the internet is just gonna like poof and disappear. And I'm still gonna be there working on my software, but I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to do anything. I just kind of have to focus on the things that I want to focus on. And I think that would be kind of interesting.
And then that's whatever it may be, right? You think it's right now software, but maybe you're into cars in 20 years, and that's all you want to do is just build a car or paint a car or drive your car.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, that's it now anyways. I just like to I like to drive my e-bikes and my cars.
There you go, right? But the weird thing is, like, you know, I'm like a fan of like these YouTubers, right? Like Casey Neistat was one of these guys that was super influential. He was inspiring to like just hordes of us, right? Like, everybody was watching his content. We're like, damn, this guy is living the dream. This guy is living the life that we all want, kind of thing, right? Like the hustle. He used to promote the hustle and, you know, kind of. And then one day he loses all that. Like, he's like, he goes like almost 180 degrees and like doesn't put anything out. He's kind of semi-retired right now. And you're like, what in the world? This guy that is so good at it. Like, how can it be? And I mean, I kind of knew that because I'm older than him, and I'm already going through those things where you're like, you feel the urge to, speak your mind and share your ideas in the world. You're like, oh, I got these nuggets. This idea is valuable. Everybody needs to see it, and it's like, one day you're not going to feel like that. You know what I mean? Like, one day I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to feel that push to do the thing. And so then I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Every time I make a video, I make a ton of money. And I'm losing that, the urge to like do those videos. Like, oh, I'm in trouble. It's taking me so long to get here where they're profitable now. And now I don't feel like making them. What is wrong with me,
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. And I mean, I think that's why we all kind of go through different phases, and we all do. Like, I have done so many different jobs for myself over the last couple decades, and I think that's just part of it. Like, I would be bored if I was still doing the exact same thing I did when I first started my business.
Yeah.
Right? So I think as much as we want to be experts and as much as we want to share all the things and be known for a certain thing, that can change and we can pivot, and some of our audience might stick around, and some of it, I think about the things I was writing about like 8 years ago. It's so different than now. Some people have stuck around, right? Like, some people just have told me, like, I don't care what you write about. I just want to hear what you have to say about things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's awesome. It's not everybody, but it's enough people that kind of follow me from idea to idea to idea, and then new people come along and and other people leave, kind of thing. And it just ends up working, and it feels a lot less boring to me to not be pigeonholed into what, like, Paul isn't the guy who does this. Paul's just a guy who's doing this right now, kind of thing. And then that makes it more interesting to kind of like take a break for a bit, come back, see, okay, is this something I still want to do? Do I want to pivot and try something different?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's valuable. I think your book, because I feel like it's a trend that it's emerging. I don't have a lot of people that have businesses around me. I don't, like, a lot of my friends don't. People, it's such a weird thing. I'm like, oh, you guys are the people that just go work for somebody else. I'm like, that's a weird thing. Like, it's almost like you guys living in the 50s. Because if you think about it, in the 50s, the American dream was to find a big corporation, right? And then you would go and work, and you would work your way up the ladder, the corporate ladder, and then you got great benefits. You'd buy a house in a suburb. You'd have 5 kids and 2.5 new cars, every decade. And then that was it. You retired at 60 or whatever. You would retire, and you would have a pension plan. But I think that hasn't been the reality for a lot of people for a long time, right? And so it's so weird that such big, like, part of my circles, they kind of do that still. They still just go to a job, and I'm like weirdo enough so that, like, that doesn't work for me. Like, this is like, I only had one job in my lifetime, and I was there for 12 years. And after, I couldn't wait to get out of there. And I kind of venture on. It's for those of you that know or don't know what it is to go out on your own, it's scary because, it's like when you have a job, that paycheck's going to come. You just have to show up and do your tiny little part of your job that you have to do. But the overall thing is, it's someone else's trouble. You know what I mean? Like, someone else has to worry about if there's going to be enough money to pay you at the end of the week. Yeah. Right. But now all of a sudden you're bringing all that on yourself and stuff. So it's kind of scary. But I dislike my job so much at that time that I'm like, bring it. Bring the stress. I'll figure it out. I'll die trying anyways.
Yeah. I like that responsibility though, where I'm in charge of how my business goes to some degree. And I think what you said makes a lot of sense, because I think there was a ton of job security. Like, decades ago, you would have job security if you were there and you just showed up and did your work. You would get a pension. None of these things exist that much anymore. Yeah. All of the people, when I dropped out of school and they continued and they got jobs, none of them work at those same jobs anymore, right? Like they've all been laid off or let go of so many times. And I've just been over here doing my job, working for myself. And no, I don't know anybody who has worked at a company in my circle of friends for the amount of time that I've worked for myself. So I feel like I've built job security that other people at companies don't have. Yes, it can be more work. And like you said, it can be scary and risky. But I think that if you do it, you can do it in a way. Like I'm not a very risky person. Like I don't like to take risks, even though I'm an entrepreneur. With my businesses, I try to risk as little as possible. I try to only risk things where if I lose, it's not the end of the world. Like it's just like with investing. It's like, I don't know how to pick stocks that well, but I'll put my money into index funds because it's just investing in the market. The market typically does well. If it doesn't, it bounces back. Even in March, it tanked. And I was like, this kind of sucks, but I'm not taking the money out right now. So I'll ride it out. In 2008, I was like, this sucks for my investments. And my investments are there for basically retirement or whatever car I want to buy next.
Yes.
But like those things bounce back. And it's like, for my business, I know how, because I'm in charge, I know how to make it as resilient as possible. Whereas if I worked for somebody else, I would just hope that they were doing that. And I wouldn't know for sure, right? Like somebody under somebody else doesn't know how the person above them is doing their job, how they're running the company typically. So I would rather have that control. It does feel a bit more risky. But if I look at the amount of time that I've been doing this, I don't think it's risky at all. Yeah. It just feels like it's risky, right?
Yeah. Well, but there's pros and cons to everything, right?
For sure.
The yin and yang, right? It's like there's risks that you have to put up with, but there's also rewards, right? If the companies are doing like if you work for some company, multi-million-dollar, national thing or whatever corporation, like they could be killing it. They could be like raking in just billions of dollars in profits. Your paycheck's going to be the same
exactly
at the end of the year. Like maybe you get a little bonus at the end of the year, maybe not, But if you're running your own thing and you happen to, go viral or do well in a particular period of time, you're the recipient of that, of that reward. So
yeah,
it comes, it comes with pros and cons. And I think you just, but valuing your ability your freedom to choose, I think is very important, which is weird because, we're living in America. We're supposed to value freedom above almost everything else, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm in Canada, but it's basically the same here.
You are North America. You're American. Yeah. I'm not American because I'm not a U.S. citizen either. I'm Mexican, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's weird. Like, so you are actually in Canada right now.
Yeah.
I
could walk into a hospital and get free healthcare if I wanted to.
That's so weird. Because they over here, actually, that's not true. We get a lot of free stuff here in America. We like to just be really negative on ourselves, I think. But there's, this is a decent place. Did I read that you lived like on an island or something?
Yeah, I live in the woods on an island. I live literally I live in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
How high up?
I'm 20 meters above sea level, so I live on the Pacific Ocean basically. But I'm above
latitude.
I'm under the 49th parallel.
Okay, so it's not way over there in the Arctic Circle.
No.
Okay.
Like, technically, I live close to Seattle, so
okay.
It's like Pacific Northwest. So it just basically rains all the time.
You're smelling all those fumes from us down.
And wildfires too, although the wildfire smoke has dissipated, thankfully.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Isn't it like crazy? It's like a lot of ash and.
It was for probably about a week. The sky looked like apocalyptic red, there was the first day I left my window open the night before, and my computer and my desk here was just covered in ash. The first day of it, I was like, oh, this is not good. Yeah, but thankfully the winds have changed, and hopefully the fires are dying down as well. But yeah, it's back to normal here. Just nice,
Wow.
crisp, clean air.
Yeah, so you're living the dream. You're out in a rural area. You don't have you don't have a typical 9 to 5. You for the last 20 years you've been living on kind of an internet. You've been having this
Yeah,
connected virtually to the world.
yeah. And now they have fiber out here,
And
which
you
is
have
awesome.
fiber.
So I had gigabit internet in the woods.
Crazy is that? And then in Canada, of all places, a place that you can you can have your own guns over there. You can
Probably, yeah.
Do you have your own? Is Canada as free as here, or is it a little bit more restricted in some aspects? Or
There are some subtle differences, I think, but it's like I
It's
don't
the
know.
same.
Yeah, it's super safe here. Like,
yeah, yeah. Wow, you're living the dream. You're
Yeah.
out there. No smog.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
it's weird. Do people say like, you're not a case? You don't know what you're talking about because you're weird. You're up there. Like it doesn't. What do you think? It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
mean,
in the
I
real
have,
world.
like I lived in Toronto, I lived in Vancouver. My wife and I had a condo downtown Vancouver for until about, I guess, 10, 11 years ago. Right?
Okay.
So like I have had a more normal life, lived in a city, and all of that. But we've realized that we don't need to live in a city, and we didn't feel like doing that anymore. I like that I have a couple acres. I like that I can grow food. I like that we have so many country roads that I can zip around on my electric
On your
toys.
Yeah, and your
So,
Tesla. You are living the dream. It's weird because when I was younger, I used to think like I'll never leave LA. Like LA is my hometown. I mean, I wasn't born here, but I've lived most of my life here.
Yeah.
And you have to be here. This is where life happens. This is a thing. I used to have a thing for New York because I would be like, whenever I went there, I'm like, this city's alive. Hey, LA is
Yeah.
dead compared to this place, right?
Yeah.
And so I was really attracted to that because you could literally feel the hustle,
Yeah.
happening in front of you. And I'm like, I want some of that. I want
Yeah.
to feel alive. I want to feel that I'm doing things, that I'm trying things, that I'm failing, but I'm succeeding. I was like, but now, the older I get, I'm like, I don't know if I need to be here. Like,
Yeah.
I could go anywhere else. And probably I want to go somewhere more rural than LA, area.
Yeah. I mean, whatever the opposite of FOMO is what I kind of feel like I have, where I'm happy to miss out on whatever's happening in
Yeah.
wherever. Because it's like, if something's important, I'm going to find out about it. There's enough people that live out here where there's like a sense of community and kind of people get together and help each other out. But it's like I don't have to deal with traffic. I don't have to deal with noise. Like I don't have to. When we lived in Vancouver, we used to have blackout blinds because we lived across the road from a billboard that was animated. And we had a fan that acted as a white noise machine because it was loud because we lived downtown. Now it's like, unless there's raccoons trying to climb up and pull my bird feeders down, which does happen, and I keep having to get smarter and smarter with how I hang my bird feeders up, like there's no noise here. There's no lights. Like it is dark. At night, when it's dark, it is pitch black. And I love that. And I mean, I like sometimes visiting places. I actually really like Los Angeles. I've been there a bunch of times. Not this year because the border's closed, but I mean, I like to visit cities, but I wouldn't want to be in a city anymore. And if you asked me that in my 20s, I'd be like, no, you're crazy. I got to be like living right in the heart of downtown forever. And now it's like, I like to live right in the heart of nowhere. And that's good.
So when did you write this book?
In a little surf town up the coast on the same island I live on Vancouver Island. Actually, no, I didn't. What year did I write it? I wrote it in 2017. Came out in 2019. So I was living here. I was living in the place that I live in now, South Island. So I think the book starts with me moving to Tofino, and then I moved from that little surf town to where I live now after.
So
But
this is a product of, what your life's journey, right? And
Yeah.
so this is a result. You're sharing, like knowledge, wisdom, from this part of your life now.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to read this book. Who like you obviously get to interact with people that read it, right? Because people sent you messages, hey, you help me out. I don't know, probably some criticism. Like, what is your take? Like, who's your core audience? Who does it strike like a chord with? Who writes more to you, kind of thing? And
Yeah, I think the people that felt like maybe they couldn't be entrepreneurs because they saw entrepreneurs as a specific type of person that was super driven, super growth focused, I'm going to go out and get funding, I'm going to make pitch decks, I'm going to grow, that kind of thing. So I hear from a lot of people who are like, well, I actually have a pretty good business and it moves slowly and it grows steadily, it makes money. And so it's a lot of people who just are really well suited to be entrepreneurs. They just maybe didn't know it because traditional media only covers the people who it makes it seem like entrepreneurialism is one very narrow type of thing, and it's not. And I think the most of the people who resonate with the book are the people who are like, well, I felt like I was a very different kind of entrepreneur, and now I know that I'm really not. I'm the same as a lot of people who resonate with this kind of company of one mentality.
yeah, that's cool. My screen went black here. Let me just check to see if there was.
Yeah, I lost video on you.
Yeah, nice. But no audio. That's cool.
Yeah.
So it might be fine.
I just kept going because I figured it would come back. So
yeah, and if it's no big deal, then we just cut that, and because that was good. You were in a roll there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting because you're right. The media does focus on the flashy ones, on the people that are making waves, on yeah, and then the at times I've felt that my business moves slow because it's just me essentially, right? Like if I don't figure it out, then it doesn't get done. And where I look at other people, like other YouTubers, I tend to like compare myself with other YouTubers, like my peers, right? And I'm like, these people seem to be going like 10 times faster than me. It's fine? Okay, yeah. Still speeding. Oh, okay, good. It was just a dumb thing or something. But I realized that, like, oh, wait a minute, their whole teams of people. Like, they have, shooters, they have researchers, they have, editors, writers, they crowdsource a lot of the stuff that they're doing. And I'm like, and I'm just me. Yeah, I'm going to go way slower, right? But I don't have 20 mouths to feed right now. You know what I mean? Like the dollar that I make in profit from doing the video, doing a good job on the thing, I get to keep it for the most part, where these guys have to split it 10 ways, 20 ways. I don't know, sometimes, So, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm okay. I'm okay where I'm at, like slowly but surely. That is, but I think that's the thing that comes with age, right? And so I guess the thing is like, how do you share that with the young people?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of younger people who've read my book and taken something from it, and maybe they've gotten to where we are without as many mistakes as we've made, or they've come to the realizations that we've come to sooner, and they're therefore smarter than we are. But yeah, like it's interesting because there's a lot of people who've read the book and taken something from the book who I would have had no idea. Like I've heard from a lot of people who do personal training who've read the book and who've got something from it. I've heard from a lot of people who run car detailing shops or car detailing mobile services, and they've gotten something from. And it's like these are things that I never would have imagined that people would be able to find anything valuable from a book that I wrote on the subject that I did. But they do, and that's been really interesting. It's like there's a lot of dentists as well, and I'm like, I didn't write a book for dentists, but if dentists are reading this and are getting something from it to put into practice in their practice, then Geez, that's awesome. I don't understand how so many dentists found my book or my work, but I will gladly take it, kind of thing.
It went in their circles, maybe, or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting to kind of see that. And I mean, I'm of the mindset that like once I create something and I put it out in the world, it's no longer mine. So if somebody gets value from that, then that's theirs, and they can have that. And I don't, whatever they do, that's cool with me. Like I mean, I talked to yesterday. I did a private Q&A for a healthcare company in the States that has like 800 employees, and they were all reading the book together as like an internal book club. And I was like, I don't know. And I was talking to the guy who's setting it up. I'm like, honestly, I don't know if I have anything of value to add to these people who work in this healthcare company. And he's like, totally do. Like, we've all read the book and we got value from it. So I'm like, okay, that sounds great. So I don't know. It's just interesting. I'm surprised every single day by the types of folks who email me and say that they've got something from it.
Wow. Yeah, that is very interesting. It's like I have a similar thing where like I'm a dropout. I'm a high school dropout. But not more than that. Like I didn't go to school. Like I didn't fare well in high school 2 years, and then the 2 years in junior high I didn't, and then on elementary I only went to 2 years. Right? So I didn't set foot in school till I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
So I'm lacking in the education department, like, massively, right? So now that I'm older and I'm doing this stuff, I get to hear from a lot of teachers that say that they play my videos in the classroom. And I'm like, what? And not only that, but these industries are emerging barely. It's so early that there are no like official channels for some of these educators to make their curriculums. So they have invited me to go and advise them on how to make a curriculum in the things that I'm doing today. And I just feel funny. I'm like, I'm a high school dropout. Like I literally have like almost zero education, and now I'm helping you form a thing to teach kids. I'm like, this is weird.
Every time I do something for a university, it's like I didn't go to university. It's just my co-founder and I for our analytics company are speaking at Stanford in a couple weeks, and he didn't even go to university either, and we're like, what the heck are we even doing?
That's crazy.
Like, and that's the thing. Like when I was in school, I probably would have stayed in school longer, or maybe I wouldn't have. But the internet didn't exist in the way that it did now, where I couldn't just go online and find somebody to teach me. Like I couldn't just go on YouTube. Like now, it's like I first got an e-bike probably a year ago and didn't know how to work on it or fix it or anything like that. All I watched was e-bike videos, much to my wife's disappointment. Like, why are you watching another video on a guy taking apart his bike? It's like, stop it. But like now I know how to take my bike apart, put it back together, and fix things. And it's like, the reason why I dropped out of school is because I wanted to do programming, and the school was not nearly caught up to where programming was back then. And there wasn't, like, I couldn't just go on YouTube. I couldn't just take a course on, like, one of these developer things. And there just wasn't anything for me, so I had to figure it out myself. Whereas nowadays, it's like, anything I want to learn, I can find somebody to teach me outside of school, just in terms of like I'll find a YouTube video or an online course, something like that, and it's like whatever I want to learn, I can learn. And this is amazing. Like this is what like all the bad things on the internet, whatever. This is what blows my mind about where we're at now, is any topic, anything that I want to learn in the entire world, I can go find someone who knows how to do it and who is teaching it. So they're not just doing it, but they're making videos or writing articles or doing something where they're sharing that knowledge to pass it to whoever wants to consume it. I think that's awesome. I think that's probably one of the main reasons I'm still online, is because I can do that. Like all the bad stuff that happens on the internet, whatever. Like that's the coolest. That's the coolest thing for me.
Yeah. So do you think that you're like? I like to think that I sell dreams, right? I mean, I'm getting into selling physical products now, but I'm selling dreams. I'm like, the dream that you can do it yourself. I'm DIY, right? Like that is to the core who I am. It's like DIY. I'm selling whatever you need to do, you can hack your way into life and figure out how to do a thing, right? It seems like you're similar. Like you deviated from the set course that people expect from kids in high school, right? They don't expect the kids to drop out and go find their own way. We celebrate that if you succeeded later.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then we say you're stupid, you should have paid attention. You should have just followed the rules like everybody else.
Yeah.
You didn't find. Do you feel like that is the thing that you're sharing and that is to the core what your book is about? Because you're sharing techniques, right? But I mean, those are just techniques. But you won't ever endeavor in those techniques if you don't believe the core message, that you can DIY your way through life, essentially, or you can go on your own.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's permission. A lot of it is just whatever it is that I'm selling or whatever it is that I'm doing. It just feels like I'm giving people permission. And I don't I'm just some weird dude on the internet. I literally can't give anybody permission to do anything, but it just feels like sometimes people are just looking for one other person who has done the thing that they want to do or done the thing that they want to try. And they just want that person to say like, I did this and I didn't die. It didn't blow up in my face. So you can probably do that as well. Like, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I can kind of make things work. So like other people, like it's possible for somebody else to do the same. And so I think that's what it is, whether it's my courses or the books that I write or whatever, it just feels like a lot of it is me giving other people permission to just try, to take the thing that they want more than anything and to like give it a go. It could work, it may not, but you have to basically try to see if you want it in the first place anyways. But you're at 100% failure rate if you don't try. And so you can improve. The only way to improve your odds, even if it's just infinitesimally, is just like, give it a go. Like otherwise you're 100% guaranteed that you have failed.
Yeah. Yeah, I get a lot with my comments on my YouTubes is like, but what if it fails? And I'm like, well, that's the wrong answer right from the get-go. Like, because you should be asking, what if it doesn't fail?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because if it doesn't fail you, then you succeeded, right? It's
Exactly. I mean, same with business. Like I've had my batting average for business is probably 50%. Like 50% of the businesses that I've started have made any kind of decent money. 50% have failed. And for me, that's good because the ones that have failed, I've learned something, I've picked myself up, and I've tried something else. And but if I had stopped there, then the ones that had succeeded would never have had a chance, right?
Yeah.
So I just have to, I think that's probably my best entrepreneurial ability is the fact that I'm unfazed by my own failures.
Yes.
I fail at something, and then I just next day, okay, what's the next thing that I can try? What's the next thing I can do? What's the next thing I can experiment with and go from there?
Yeah, totally. I agree there. Like I'm similar. Like I think on the surface, I think that I used to hate my job, my only job, my first job that I ever had, that it was terrible. I just wanted to get out of there. But looking back, I was like, you know what? I don't hate that. That is what made me. That is the thing that I learned a ton of stuff, work ethic.
Yeah.
I learned that if you didn't bust, move and hustle, that you weren't going to get anywhere. Yeah, you're going to get fired because my boss didn't particularly like me so much in the early days. It's so much that I recently thought, you know what? I got to reach out to my boss because I want to talk to him. I want to thank him for being hard on me, for whatever. But thank him for giving me that opportunity. I was it's such a weird thing because I was living illegally in the United States at that point. And so nobody would give me a job. This guy kind of gave me a job. Now it wasn't 100% selfless. Like he was, he wasn't paying me much and stuff, and I felt some resentment in that department. But in the overall, I'm thankful. I wouldn't change that opportunity, right? Like going back, because that is what made me, that's what gave me the, my outlook in life and, gave me what I needed to get where I am right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's what all of those things do. They just become a lesson for us to take and either apply in the future or to know that that's absolutely not what we want. So we're going to do everything we can to avoid having to do that similar thing in the future. And I think that drives a lot of people is like, I've done the crappy work and I know I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm going to do everything in my power to work to not have to do that type of work again.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was asking you the what do you tell young kids if they ask you for advice, I've recently had to give advice to one of my nephews, and he's just entering, like he just graduated high school and stuff, and he asked me, what do you think I should do? And I go, honestly, you should just try everything. Like you should just go and get a ton of jobs.
Yeah.
Try everything. Even if you're like, no, I'm not gonna like that. Just go and work there. Just work there a few months. Because you never know. What I've learned is that the things you think are going to be one way, they're completely opposite.
Yeah,
a lot
exactly.
of the times.
It's hard to know until you try them.
Until you're there. Yeah,
Yeah.
You don't know how much you hate plumbing. You're a plumber. You don't know how much you hate, digging ditches until you tried it. Like, well, what if you don't hate digging ditches and you're great at it, and then you become like these amazing,
Yeah.
thing, but you would never know.
Yeah, things change too. It's like I had a job doing landscaping when I was younger, and I was like, this is the worst ever. And now one of my favorite things to do is gardening. Right? Like I was digging up plants and planting plants, and I hated it. And now it's like when I can, I'd rather be out in my garden and growing food and cultivating the land. So as I get the difference a couple decades make in terms of perspective.
Yeah,
interesting.
perspective changes.
Yeah.
Same thing with me. Like I literally did an electric car. I wanted to buy a Tesla, right? But this is back in like 2011 or something. So there were no Teslas to buy. And so at that point, I didn't have a car. And I didn't have a car because I hated driving so much. Because my first job required me to drive up to like 200 miles a day. Wow. Right? So I spent my 20s, my late 20s, my 30s, literally on the freeway driving 200 miles, like 4 hours a day. In average, I used to spend going. And I was a carpenter. I was an installer. But for some reason, that's just my boss would get jobs far away, So I'm like, and so I used to think like, this is no way to live. Like, this is terrible. Like, you can't absolutely do nothing in the car in the 90s driving. You can't learn anything. I guess you can listen to the radio, some music, but I mean, it's just endless hour. And I thought, like, forget this. I gotta get a job where I don't have to commute at all anymore. So that was a very early thing that I set for myself, right? Like, and so then so much that I sold my car. I didn't have a car. I'm like, that's it. I'm not going to have a car. And so when eventually I got tired of having my employees drive me around like a chauffeur or whatever, I thought like, this is dumb. Like, I'm not like a big shot over here. It's like, it gets annoying. So then I thought, I'm going to get a cool car. What's out there? Oh, Teslas. Oh my God, these are cool. But they're so far away. I go, I'm going to make my own electric car. And so then I went and bought a VW bus because those are the cars that kind of like growing up. They're kind of iconic and whatever. And then I made them. And so now I'm kind of a car guy, right? I'm like almost all my life, it's somehow, through batteries and through electric cars. But I have a bunch of them here. I'm working on them and stuff. But it's the same thing. It's like now I drive for pleasure. Mm-hmm. Where back in the 90s, I used to drive because I had to go commute in this job that I wasn't particularly fond of.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing. It's the same thing, but it's a weird thing in a different part of the journey, right? And so, yeah that's pretty interesting. How there's a lot of similarities between you and I, and that's why I think we share some similar philosophies in life, I think. Yeah. So this book, it's available in Amazon, is it?
Yeah, it should be in pretty much all bookstores. It's traditionally published, so it's wherever books are sold, you can get it. I think it's in about 20 different languages as well right now. So
that's nice.
Yeah, it's out. It's around. It's out there.
It's out there, and people can read it, and you at least see a different perspective. I think your perspective of going small as opposed to going big, it's not the popular one. I don't think it's the...
No, it's not.
You're going against the grain. You're anti-establishment. in some ways.
Yeah.
So, which is good. I'm there with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, maybe it's not the best thing, but it is a different way of doing things. And like I say, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and definitely going big is not the only way, There's more responsibility. One of the big things that is killing us as society here in the United States and, in Canada, it's similar, right? It's stress.
Yeah.
It's like up there, and the number, it's not the number one killer, but it's up there, right? It ranks really high. And definitely having a fast pace or having a lot of responsibilities in the work and your job and stuff, it's one of the main sources of having stress. Imagine if you have 100 people depending on you. Like, if your business fails, that means there's like 100 families that now have to figure out what to do.
Exactly. I always tell people I want the most amount of revenue with the least amount of responsibility.
Yes.
Whatever that is, that's the thing that I want.
Yes. That's what people don't think about. I think it's, I was telling someone the other day, do I want to make Tom Cruise's, $20 million per movie? Yes. Do I want to perform at his level and learn all those lines and
do all your own
that
stunts?
Focus? No. Right? So we just focus on the good things. We don't focus on the hard things. Like, that dude's amazing. Like, he does all his stunts. He remembers all those lines. He writes all those stories. I mean, he's like producing those movies, right?
Yeah.
He's making a ton of money, but that's because he's really good at what he does. And I have been in I don't know if you've ever been around like an actor or a movie set. I was there once and 20 takes.
Yeah.
The same line. And somewhere around the 5th take, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, what else can we do? Like, it's boring. And this guy had another 20 takes in front of that. And the same passion, the same thing. And you're going like, oh my God, these actors, these are weirdos. Like, these are weird people.
Yeah. A lot of patience.
A lot of patience.
That I don't have.
They're playing make-believe, they're role-playing. You're like, this is really weird.
Yeah.
And they make tons of money. They're like, apparently we value that or whatever. So anyways, that's, you have to see the good with the bad. And I think you need to be able to see more perspectives. And this book will give you another perspective that might be different, but I think really valuable. I think your popularity, this might start increasing. Has it? Is it trending higher? Is it?
There's definitely been a bump in sales since March. But I mean, I've been thankful. It's sold really well since it came out in January of 2019. And it's just continued kind of at the pace that it's been at, which has been really nice. I'm happy that people like the thing that I put out into the world. So
yeah, no, I mean, it's a different perspective. And it's one I think that it's definitely not out there enough. I think, and I think it's very valuable. I'm lucky enough to see it because I am, I can align. But I think someone watching this and listening to this for the first time, I think might not have ever thought about this and might be like, what? This is what? Smaller? No, that doesn't make sense. But let me tell you, it does make sense. Much, much happier this time around with the smaller company, smaller crew, making more money than ever before, at least me. Right, because I have less liability, less mouths to feed and stuff, and much better around. It's not for everyone, but definitely you might be in that part of the population that this is a thing for you. So you should definitely take a look at this book here. So I want to thank you for joining me. It was an interesting conversation. Definitely.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
You want to plug in your socials so that people can ask you questions?
Yeah. I mean, I'm only on Twitter, so it'll be fast. PJRVS on Twitter. I'm not on anywhere else.
Oh, that's it, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
Living in the woods. Not having a 9-to-5 and only on Twitter.
Yeah.
Man, you're living the dream.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Oh, do you have a website? Because you also have another business that you're doing analytics and stuff. So that people are interested in that too.
Fathom Analytics. It's usefathom.com and simple privacy focused website analytics.
Fathom Analytics. You know what? That sounds familiar. I think either maybe you or one in your team, someone sent me an email at one point, and I remember looking at it and thinking, oh, this is very interesting. Yeah, Fathom Analytics. Yeah. So anyways, thank you for joining me. It was an interesting talk, and I wish all the luck to you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, all right.